Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Perseverance Mindset Podcast. I am your host, as you know me, John Zadsura, and I know you came here for truth without the political spin. This is the Perseverance Mindset Podcast, once again coming to you live from our famous Dialogue Den, where we don't sugarcoat reality, we face it head on. Now, today's topic, it's not run-of-the-mill. It's not something that's going to sell tickets. It's not going to be widely shared and talked about. It's not sexy. It's not trending on TikTok, but trust me, it is urgent and we need to discuss it. So in this episode, I don't know if you heard on the news or mainstream media, but Moody's had downgraded the credit rating of the United States. And it's an interesting topic because, again, when you talk about credit can be good or bad. The one thing about credit is it just takes a few missed payments, it takes a few things, and it can plummet. You can be A+ one day and F in just a short matter of time. But it didn't take that to get to this point. It took years, took decades of just non-intelligent decisions fiscally to get us to this point. So we're going to be exploring America's exploding debt, Moody's warning of a credit downgrade. Well, it's happened, it's not a warning, and why both parties are playing with matches next to a powdered keg. I can't think of any way to describe it. We're not broke because of bad luck. We're broke because we're financially reckless. Sounds familiar for a lot of Americans out there? Purchasing things we can't get, going out of our way, not living within our means. A lot of things happen. On top of 40-year high record inflation, it is a recipe for disaster. So let's get into it. On May 16th, USA Today reported that Moody's might strip the U.S. of its AAA credit rating. That's Wall Street's version of saying, we don't trust you to pay your bills on time and effectively. Now listen, that's not just a headline for financial nerds out there, for the finance bros. That affects your personal wallet. And that's why we want to bring it to all of our perseverance pioneers today. What does this mean for you? What could this mean for us? Credit card APRs go up. Mortgages start to go up. They're already record highs to begin with, the cost of living surges we've seen over the past number of years. Meanwhile, Washington throws confetti and signs $1 trillion deals like it's a birthday party. But here's the twist. This isn't new. We've known this financial storm was coming for decades, and anybody that refutes that, they're just truly not paying attention, or they don't want to pay attention. So let's get even more into it. It's time to have those uncomfortably family conversations of the political kind here on the podcast. Here's what the last 10 presidents added to the national debt. And I have to say this, it's not pretty. Joe Biden, 2021 to the last election cycle, $6 trillion and counting. The president before Joe Biden, Donald Trump, $7.8 trillion. A lot of it was COVID money. A lot of it went to military. Barack Obama, 2009 to 2017, $8.6 trillion. George W. Bush, 2001 to 2009, $5.8 trillion. Again, major global war on terror during that time, not an excuse, but people are questioning those financial and fiscal responsibilities and those dollars today. Bill Clinton, 1993 to 2001, $1.5 trillion. George H.W. Bush, 1989 to 93, $1.5 trillion. Ronald Reagan, 1981 to 1989, $1.9 trillion. Jimmy Carter, 1977, $300 billion. Gerald Ford, 1974 to 77, $224 billion. Richard Nixon, 1969 to 1974, $121 billion. Think about this. Every president talked about being fiscally responsible has basically misled us one way or another. Every single one. And yet we've never actually cut spending in a meaningful way. And this is where we find ourselves now. So if you're still picking sides on red versus blue, Democrat versus Republican, when it comes to finance and talking fiscally, all that should fall apart because this isn't a party issue. This is a national accountability of where we spend our dollars. And that's the truth. That is the God's honest truth. So let's chew on some of these facts. Total U.S. debt, over $34 trillion. That's $102,000 per American. Hope you're saving up to pay for that. Interest on debt, The 2025 projection is over 1.2 trillion in interest. In interest, that's more than we spend on defense, education, and Medicare combined. Astounding. Truly astounding. In 2024, the U.S. spent 33 cents of every dollar just to pay off interest. Just to pay off interest. Just put that all in terms. To pay off that interest, we're paying even higher to pay it back. Imagine making $60,000 a year and spending $20,000 of that on credit card interest alone. You'd be broke, or on a Netflix docuseries asking about how you got into this situation. And there's a lot of people hurting out there. But people aren't helping themselves with financial decisions, living outside their means, and the government has the very same problem. Say you were to get a credit card from a major credit card company. They give you a limit of $1,000. You max it out in a week. You don't go to that same credit card company and say, hey, I need a max of $2,000 or $5,000. They're going to laugh you off the phone. Now, here's where it gets spicy. You know, the same economists and pundits who told us deficits don't matter, modern monetary theory means we can print money forever. We have an endless supply. We are the ones that make the rules. And inflation is transitory. Love that myth. Boy, that's been such disproven the last number of years. If anybody were to hear that now, they'd probably punch through walls and kick things downstairs. But anyway, turns out you can't gaslight math. Not sure if anybody's aware of that. I know math isn't a topic today that people like to talk about. People think it's a lot of things about math. I may not be that good at it, but I'm not going to say anything about it just because I'm not good at it. I know how to count my paychecks. I know how to count my budget. And in my opinion, that's what I need to know as an American. It's like taking diet advice from someone who's sponsored by Twinkies. Just doesn't make any sense. We were told that as long as interest rates were low and we can borrow endlessly, but guess what? Interest rates now aren't low anymore, and the bill is coming due, and they're not knocking on the door yet. But every day they might have been walking by in front of the house looking in to see how things have been making out. And they're starting to really get weird. So let's talk incentives. Why does this keep happening? Simple. Spending gets votes, and being fiscally responsible often doesn't. Cutting taxes, very popular. Sending out checks, even more popular. It seems that's a be-all, end-all solve of all the problems. Give people a couple $100 and they could be all happy for about a week, maybe less than that now. Cutting Social Security or Medicaid, which people depend on. Suicide. Political suicide. Nobody wants to be the adult in the room. Nobody wants to examine these things. Trying to pass a balanced budget today is like being the one person at a party who brings a salad. Nobody's getting a re-invite to any party after that. Now, every time there's a crisis, we hear we need a new program, right? Nothing a good old government program can't fix, whether it's student loans, healthcare, housing. The solution is always a government program. But money isn't policy. Throwing cash and more cash and more cash at a problem without any kind of actual fixes. It's like bailing water from a sinking ship with a teaspoon. It's like going after a fly with a bazooka and hopefully that you can somehow hit that bazooka with that fly. We can't solve this debt problem with Band-Aids. This is major surgery, coronary, we might add on this show for all of our listeners out there. We don't sugarcoat reality. And this is the reality we find ourselves. So the dominoes are starting to fall. Here's what happens when investors lose confidence. As things are happening, as, again, stock markets have gone up, stock markets have come down, tariffs have been implemented, 90-day pause have started, companies are investing. But again, here's what happens when that starts to go south. The dollar weakens, inflation rises. We've seen good reports that it's currently still on track to keep going down. Again, the stock market does panic because Wall Street worries about Wall Street, and Main Street is all about Main Street because Main Street is the communities. Wall Street is bottom line of CEOs and companies. So foreign nations also pivot away from the U.S. Treasury bonds, especially China, because we find ourselves in this financial Cold War like we actually are. That's not just hyperbole. We are. You think groceries are expensive now? Well, if that dollar starts to dip, I can't see how much more expensive it can get. And wait until inflation, which has been killing us over the past few years. I'm talking about opening your wallet up and you put money in and the money just falls right out because it's gone. It's not just a number. It's a pain at the pump. It's anxiety at the checkout line and stress in your home. But I also want to stress that we have seen things start to come down. We have seen egg prices start to come down. We have seen gas prices start to go down. the lowest in 4 years. We have started to see these positive things. And I don't think anybody could be against that after all the crippling pressure that we've had over these number of years. Here's where we pivot to the solutions, because we just don't complain on this podcast. We're going to talk about solutions. We actually want to talk about what can be done, as opposed to DOGE, which people have many opinions on, Department of Government Efficiency, accountability, right? You can have your opinions on it, but we need to demand transparency where the dollars actually go. They can be allocated to a cause, but do they actually get there? Every budget should be public, visual, and easy to digest. Pushing for term limits. Long-term problems won't be solved by short-term politicians. It just not is. Nobody's coming to save us. Nobody's coming to save us. And reward people that go in and seek the problems within these agencies and find fraud, waste, and abuse, not vote buyers. And most of all, educate yourself. Educate yourself on what's actually happened. Because if you don't know what's happening with your tax dollars, someone's getting rich off your ignorance. Like all these programs we were hearing about that we were sponsoring globally. Who would ever thought we heard some of these insane things that we were funding? But now we know. Now we know. And people went to great lengths and had a lot of heat for that. But I'm grateful that we're aware of where the tax dollars are going and are they being spent efficiently. Perseverance Pioneers, you're already ahead of the curve by listening to my podcast, listening to our podcast out there for all of our Perseverance Pioneers. You lean in just a little bit more when our podcast is released. That's powerful. You're taking initiative. That's leadership. We can no longer afford to avoid this. We've borrowed from tomorrow to pay for today. The bill is coming due. And if we don't change course, our children will be the ones holding the bill with this massive debt, as we are trillions and trillions and trillions already in debt. But we have the tools, the data, and most of all, the mindset to fix it. So I do leave you with this. Don't fall for easy answers. Don't trust experts without the receipts and proven track records. And don't wait for Washington to save you. Your personal life, federal, state, or local. Sure, they can pass and enact laws that can help. But the only way change starts in your life to persevere and to get through your life challenges starts with us. Starts with you, myself, you, all of our Perseverance Pioneers listeners. And I just want to know your thoughts about that. Do you have anything to say about the Moody's downgrading the U.S. credit rating? So I want to thank you for spending time with us this rainy day on the Perseverance Mindset Podcast. If this episode really got you thinking about things, now go and shake someone else up with it. Share it, start the conversation, and let's persevere through this storm together. Let's persevere to get through this and really demanding changes that can leave us in a better financial standpoint now, in our future, and for our children's future. I'll see you next time, signing off from the Perseverance Mindset Podcast live from our Dialogue Den, pushing forward. Good night, everyone.